Welcome everybody to the new Spanish Academy. Bienvenidos a la nueva Academia de Español. So this is a bit of a crash course, but more an informational video, all right, so that you find out what this is about. We're going to go through a bunch of things, but right now I know that you must be suffering. You must be suffering because you probably wanted to learn Spanish for many years. You have reasons to learn Spanish, or you started before, you used apps that give you random phrases that you never use, apps that are very famous that I cannot mention, but everybody knows that they don't help. I myself speak 6 languages and plus, let's say, and I never use those apps. I have my ways, and well, that's when I give you what I want to deliver to you. All the content that I know, that I have, content that probably you think in Spanish is contento, but when you speak Spanish, you gotta change the accent. You gotta say contento, but contento does not mean content as in the content of a course. Contento means glad, as in being content with the situation. But if you want to say content as in the content of a course, then the word is contenido. Now, right now, what I did here is an example of how I teach Spanish. It's an example of how you can use similar sounding words or lookalikes to basically jump and say something, because you can say wrong. Let's say you say use the word contento, trying to say content of a course, and people will laugh or they might not laugh. Regardless, you are trying because you're going out there, and whether you say it correctly and you say contenido or incorrectly and you say contento, then you are feeling that, all right, I messed up, I said the mistake, now I know how to say it correctly, correctly. All right, so I know exactly what it takes to learn a language, and I know exactly how it feels to fail, how it feels to give up, because many of you already have gone through courses in high school, 1 semester, 2 or 3 years, and I've met people like you that tell me, I don't know any Spanish more than hola, como estás, yo hablando poquito, and it's el españolo. And it sucks. I know how it feels. I imagine. At least I know people like you. And I have gone through that when I learned Russian and Italian, all the other languages that I didn't know when I was a baby. All right. So there's ways. And I created a course where you learn how to learn languages with 200 techniques. And as I give you these techniques in real life, meaning while we learn Spanish, you will realize that I have a different way of teaching. That's why I call it La Nueva Academia de Español, the new Spanish Academy. All right? Different way of teaching, diferente. El huello, no el huello, but una manera, a manner, different manner. In Spanish, usually we put the adjective before. So we say una manera, the adjective after, different way, una manera diferente. Here we say it different way. We say in Spanish, a way different of teaching. Una manera diferente de enseñar. Enseñar means to teach. All right. So right now, I just gave you an example of a technique. A technique, for example, on not using the correct pronunciation, la pronunciación. All right. Also, the technique of using similar words. And I'm repeating myself again. Are you again talking about your techniques, man? Come on, man. The thing is that I've had teachers and went through courses, like most courses out there, where you are like, this is boring. What's going on? Why are they teaching me this? Why are they not doing this? So if you don't have experience learning languages, you might not realize that most schools don't really teach you. So if you have experience teaching, then you might understand why I'm saying this, because sometimes we learn and we don't know what we are doing that is good. We don't know what we're doing that is bad. We don't know what could be good. All right, until I started to write down all my techniques, and then I realized, wow, I used to do this technique without knowing it was a technique. So I should do it more. Why did I stop? Why did I forget? Because I didn't know it was a technique. So that's why, with experience, I learned that I should tell you this. It's not just to brag, to tell you, look, I have this technique, but to say, I'm doing this right now, so why don't you also try it at home? Why don't you also try it when you are watching another course or another video or another teacher and be like, all right, he's not telling me he's doing this technique, but I see he's doing it. Or why don't he do that? Why does this teacher don't do the technique that the New Spanish Academy does? All right, it's important for you to understand what's going on in the course. Experience in Spanish is experiencia. Experience in Spanish is not el experimento, experiencia. All right, right now I gave you another technique, so try to find words that are similar. So by doing this, you are just jumping up levels, so you don't start from zero, because in Chinese, experience is jingli, in Russian is opito, in Swedish is erfarenhet. All right, but in Spanish is experiencia. It's very similar. All right, so it's good that we know which words are similar, so we can right away use it to our advantage and put it in our pocket. As I say, have all the words that you know and put it in your pocket. All right, so once you know what I told you and it makes sense, it is obvious. It's obvious once you know it, but they don't do it in normal schools, so you're gonna learn faster. All right, because that way learning can be very easy. It can be very easy when it's fun. It can be very easy when it's not just monotonous. It can be easy when you maybe rehearse something, repeating it 1,000 times, but at the same time, not only do that, but also like take some words that you already know, maybe learn some songs, maybe know how to learn, especially a language like Spanish, which, as I just explained, can be similar. Why? Because Spanish is the biggest language, one of the biggest languages out there, with many countries that have it as a native, language. But also even in the US, which is the most international culture that we have all over the place, it is an English-speaking language, but we have a lot of Spanish in there, right? A lot of songs that they say bienvenido a Miami. So bienvenido means welcome. So now you know how to say welcome. Bienvenido a mi casa. Welcome to my house. Bienvenido a otro video. Welcome to another. Another is otro. Video. So bienvenido a, welcome to. So now you know that a means to when you say welcome to. I'm going a la casa. I'm going to the house. I'm going a la casa. I'm going to the house. All right. Voy. So how do you say I'm going? You say voy a la casa. So what I did right now is, as I'm explaining something about learning, I put some Spanish words in it so you also learn. So even though this video is an explanation of the course, you are also learning some words. Words is palabras. Palabra. Palabras, palabra. As in English, Spanish is another language where plural is created by adding an S. So car, cars. Word, words. In Spanish also. Carro, carros. Palabra, palabras. Now you know some grammar. You've learned grammar. You've learned pronunciation. You've learned vocabulary in a word, in a short video. Short in Spanish is corto, corto. So think about short with a C, CH, short, and then take away the H, court, and it's like corto. Does it sound like the court? Order in the court. In Spanish, that is corte, corte, corto, corte. All right, so corto means short, but corto means I cut. Cortas means you cut. Corte, la corte is the court, like order in the court. All right, contenido, contento. We learn 2 words right away in a short video. So Spanish will become easy when you learn it at the New Spanish Academy. And that's why I call it the New Spanish Academy, because it's a new way of learning. It is repetitive because you have to repeat. You have to learn that you cannot learn without repeating it. But also you have to learn that repeating is not a bad thing when you're learning. Because why do you learn a word? Because you're going to repeat it when you say it a million times after you know the language. Just think about, let's say your language is English. You probably have said every word 1,000 times. All right? So repeating it while learning, just think that you already know it. and you are just started to use it muchas veces, many times, muchas veces, many times. El español, Spanish, va a ser muy fácil. Fácil is easy. Fácil as in a facility, a place. So when things are easy, it's like you're in a zone, the zone. I'm in the place. I'm in a facility, in the place, the facility, the zone. Things become easy when you're in the zone, when you focus, when you are in the facility. All right, so facility, fácil, things are fácil, things are easy. Now, the word facility has nothing to do with easy, but I just created a long detour to connect those words so that you will now remember that easy is fácil. Why? Because somehow I made a relation to the word facility. Crazy, right? But it doesn't matter. What matters is that you remember the word, and then you will forget how you remember, but you have it, as I say, in your pocket. En tu bolsillo. Pocket is bolsillo. All right? En tu, in your bolsillo, in your pocket, in your bolsillo. All right? So what I just did right now again is another technique. I mixed in your, which is en tu pocket. If you don't know how to say bolsillo because you forgot, you at least know how to say in your. So you can say en tu. You can say, for example, en tu bolsillo. So as I'm explaining, I'm freestyling, and I say en tu bolsillo. All right, en tu bolsillo. Or you can say something like in your bolsillo. Or you can say something like en tu pocket. So for example, you forget how to say bolsillo, but you remember how to say en tu. Then you can say, is it en tu pocket? Or maybe you remember how to say bolsillo, but you forget how to say en tu. So you say, is it in your bolsillo? In your bolsillo? All right? So now we're mixing. So if you know a word, put it in an English sentence, or have the sentence in English, have the sentence in Spanish, then just add. And if you, for example, know bolsillo but forget how to say en tu, then you can say, is it en your bolsillo? And then you just change the last word and say, is it en tu bolsillo? And then you all of a sudden know how to say the whole thing. You know, and that way you just keep adding. So now, you know, bolsillo. What I just did again, in this case, I started to write in the middle of the video. It's not a lesson, but it became a lesson. And that's how also I do the lessons. I prepare a bunch of things, and then I'm thinking while doing the video, you might have a question about ABC right here. And then I type and add the example for you. Okay, so we will learn it in a way that is new. That's why it's gonna be easy, because we will learn it in a new way. And that is because this is the new Spanish Academy. All right, so you probably feel terrible that you suck. You feel terrible that you have this girl or partner that you want to find that speaks Spanish, or that you know that speaks Spanish, and you want the family to accept you, or just to talk to this person, but you think you cannot learn because you are too old. You think age is a factor, but I'm telling you, age is a myth. This is also important to know. You think you cannot pronounce, but you can. All right. Also, you think that you don't have talent, but that's BS. It's about guidance. All right. Everything I do when I speak a language that I've learned or that I'm learning is a technique. It's not about talent. Talent is just a bunch of techniques applied correctly. All right. So when it comes to saying Spanish, español, you don't say español, you say español. So just changing the pronunciation doesn't mean you have talent. It just means that you changed the way you put your tongue when you say the letter L. It's not a thick L, it's a soft L. So it becomes L, not L, but L, español. All right. Think about the Latin people who speak English and they say, "Hey, hello, what are you doing? What is this? I don't understand, man. This is crazy. This is crazy, very loco." You do the same thing in English. We're warming up. All right, this is just the warm up. So start warming up before the lesson. Rewind and get ready. Now, this is a short video about the overview. All right, so I'm going to give you an overview on the Spanish grammar, and you're going to realize how easy it can be. We're going to talk about where you are, where you want to get, and I want you to take note, because it's going to be so easy you're going to forget how much you suck. Also, I have my way of learning, of teaching, and I have another course that I did many years ago, and you can have it. You can buy it if it's still out there, because it's a limited course, and it's a longer course in the sense that every video is between 40 and 70 minutes. In this course right now, I am making it a bit shorter because I know that nowadays people cannot concentrate. So an hour-long course for everybody is like crazy. But that course has 55 lessons in beginners and intermediate, 24 each, plus extra videos. And it's a lot of content. So you're going to learn so much. In this current course, it's going to be a bit more divided. You're going to be able to choose whether it is verbs, question videos, question words, how to ask, how to answer, and so on. Everything is going to be inside the Skool, but also we're going to have sequential videos where you're going to go one by one, or you're going to be able to jump, because it's going to simulate real life. In real life, all of a sudden you're in the street, all of a sudden you're talking to a group, all of a sudden it's not sequential, it's not the topics that you expect when you are in the streets. So that's how this course is. You're going to be able to teach and learn, teach yourself, but also learn and know how to teach yourself, and know how to push yourself, and know how to basically keep learning after you are done with this course, or do some lessons here, go to the street if you're already in Mexico, Spain, Ecuador, Colombia, whatever. Go to the street and apply what you're learning. This is not like other courses with, they teach you basic things or random things that you never use, like the giraffe has a long neck, and then the next sentence has nothing to do with the neck or the giraffe, but all of a sudden the cat drinks milk. And you're like, when am I ever going to use these sentences, please? So I have many techniques that you're going to be wild about. Wild because you're going to be like, damn, 1 week has passed and I know so many words. Did I wait so long? Why did I wait so long? Everything comes in its right time. This course, my course, has not been out there forever, but it's out there right now in the correct place so that you will reach your goal in an easy way. But you still have to put effort. You still have to attend to every class. You still have to do the lessons, take note, do your homework. And your homework sometimes is just actually to pause, take note, make a list of the words, and you're going to learn so much. It's going to be crazy. All right. But let's keep talking in the next video, and bienvenido a la nueva Academia de Español.